Madelyn Cline is the Gen Z American actress who's having a big moment thanks to her role as Sarah Cameron on Outer Banks and as Whiskey in Glass Onion. A former model herself, she knows how to serve a look, pulling off some gorgeous fits on various magazine covers and getting gold stars at her first official Met.
I'm Madelyn Cline, and I'm going to share with you everything I eat in a day.
So what does a dietitian think about how 2023's It Girl eats? Food diaries? Get at me. Hey everyone, I'm Abbey Sharp. Welcome to Abby's Kitchen. A little offended that my own food diaries didn't lead to an immediate call from Harper's Bazaar. I mean, I know Mercury is in retrograde, so my phone is probably just like not working properly, and like email and Instagram DMs. I mean, like lots of reasonable explanations. But anyway, we are back for another celebrity wedding a day review. And today is brought to us by Madelyn Cline. But a quick reminder to check out my disclaimer in the description below. And please, if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram. And if you haven't already checked out my membership page, we got a new membership program that is not replacing the freebies that you already have grown to love and expect from me here at Abby's Kitchen. So this is just bonus content, early access, Q&As, all that good stuff for about $4.99 per month. So if you guys want to help a girl out, check out the link in the description. Let me hop in here to discuss one of my all-time favorite foods, cereal. If you guys watch any of my videos, you know that cereal is its own food group over here. But as we've often discussed in my videos about hunger crushing combos, a typical bowl of sugary cereal keeps me full for like a whole 30 minutes. Delicious, but I'm pretty much just as hungry afterwards as I was before I ate it. So when I discovered Magic Spoon cereal, I was like, okay, this ticks all the boxes. You get childlike nostalgia with fun flavors and that iconic cereal crunch, but with 13 to 14 grams of protein per serving and a lot less sugar than our childhood faves. They're also gluten-free and grain-free with no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or colors. My favorites are the peanut butter and the frosted, but they also have cocoa for chocolate lovers and fruity for the nostalgic experience. Sometimes I just eat it straight out of the box for an on-the-go snack, or for a solid meal, I serve it with lots of fruit and hemp hearts on top for some extra carbs and healthy fats. Oh, and the peanut butter on top of a smoothie bowl or oatmeal for a little crunch factor and protein. Mwah! So good. So if you can also crush a box of cereal any day anyway, check out my link in the description or go to magicspoon.com/Abbey Sharp to get a variety pack and use my promo code Abbey Sharp to get $5 off any order. All right, I'm hungry. Madelyn, let's do this.
First thing I do when I wake up, I usually wake up pretty thirsty, so I'll probably chug some water.
Okay, this checks out. In no other circumstance would we go like 8 hours with a drop of water and expect not to be thirsty as f. So yeah, chug away, girl.
My go-to is usually coffee, but I'm trying to not drink coffee on an empty stomach. However, I am addicted. Recently, I've been putting some oat milk, just regular old oat milk.
If you guys watch my channel, you know that this is not a new claim. We see this often from wellness influencers, TikTok nutritionists, and the general layperson or celebrity. But to refresh, the common claim here is that coffee on an empty stomach increases your stress hormone cortisol, and cortisol is often associated with weight gain, particularly belly fat. Which is actually true. But it's not like your regular cup of coffee in the morning is making you gain weight. While some research has found that coffee can increase cortisol levels both at rest and during periods of stress, other research has found no increase in cortisol levels at all. And this individual variation likely has to do with one's sensitivity to stress, anxiety, high blood pressure, and most importantly, their tolerance to caffeine. Here's the really important piece of information that wellness influencers don't tell you. The impact of caffeine on cortisol levels seems to diminish with regular caffeine consumption. In other words, if you regularly drink coffee within an hour or so of waking up like most human beings, your body adapts to this habit. It learns, like, no, this is not a bear coming at me.
A bear
is just a double-double in a bagel, and this significantly blunts the transient effects on cortisol. We don't actually have any research looking at the specific effects of an empty stomach versus not, though it would make sense that having some food in the stomach may help to buffer the effects. And if not the cortisol effects, then at least any potential GI side effects. And Madelyn actually didn't say why she was trying to not consume coffee on an empty stomach. It may be that straight up caffeine upsets her tummy or gives her the runs.
You all right?
But regardless, I think just adding a bit of nutrition via like some milk, like the oat milk as she describes doing, can definitely also help to buffer some of those effects. At the end of the day, this is highly individualized, and if you are not feeling any kind of stress response after your coffee, your body is likely metabolizing things just fine and is highly unlikely to cause hormonal dysregulation. So this is just like a long-winded way of me saying, drink your coffee how and when you like it. Next.
And then I'll sip on that for a while. Maybe put it in the microwave a couple times.
This is so relatable. Like this coffee right here has been zapped 3 times. But it bears to question, is microwaving your coffee bad for your health? So let's do a little microwave myth busting. Number 1, microwaving does not make your food radioactive. So we don't need to worry about some kind of like Chernobyl type situation.
It's a hazmat suit.
Microwaving also doesn't zap nutrients out of food. It might slightly reduce nutrients, but it's actually one of the best ways to preserve nutrients compared to other heating or cooking methods. It does, however, affect some of the volatile compounds in coffee because heating increases the quinic and caffeic acid, which is really astringent and bitter tasting. So, pro tip from a girl who likes her coffee and likes it really hot.
It is hot. We're finally getting hot.
Even if you're at home, try drinking it out of a really good insulated to-go cup. I probably should be taking my own advice here.
Sometimes I'll wake up really hungry. On some days, a signature is going to In-N-Out for breakfast. In-N-Out and coffee, breakfast of champions. A double-double with everything on it, plus chopped chilies, animal style fry, and a Diet Coke.
Oh, California, I am super jealous of your weather, but I'm mostly jealous of your access to animal style burgers. Obviously, you don't need a dietitian to tell you that this isn't the most healthy breakfast. Like it's high in sodium, fat and additives, and low in fiber without really much veg in sight. But to satisfy those with a big appetite when a bowl of porridge just won't do, I think it's totally fine in moderation. All meals have redeeming qualities. And this meal she cited has over 40 grams of satisfying protein. And as I always discuss, focusing on a protein-rich breakfast is key for body composition, weight management, and appetite management throughout the day.
Other days, maybe I'll do a breakfast sandwich or oatmeal, maybe a smoothie.
See? Balance.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
I appreciate a celebrity who doesn't make a huge deal out of having like a higher calorie meal in the context of a more nutritious, high fiber diet. And I also appreciate that she isn't giving any disclaimers with these choices, like when I want to be good, I have a smoothie, and when I'm having a cheat day, I have a burger and fries, etc. It's just like a list of possibilities based on accessibility and cravings. We'll have to see it. This is normal eating.
Usually I'll forget about lunch until I get hungry, which is probably maybe like 4, and I'll realize I haven't eaten. Then I will probably Postmate something, a sandwich of some type.
For a lot of people, eating intuitively is this experience of literally not thinking about food until the sirens are going off full blast.
I'm hungry. Me too, make something.
And for these people, this works just fine. Like, I'm sure a lot of you watching must think, wow, it must be so liberating to never think about food until you're absolutely starving. So there's definitely benefits of operating this way, but for others, this is just never going to be possible and may not even be necessarily ideal or advantageous. If we wait until we're ravenous to eat, we often end up making less mindful decisions about our food choices, usually based on convenience and desperation rather than self-care. We also might end up with more severe dips and spikes in our energy, headaches, GI distress, and temporary spikes in cortisol, which physically doesn't feel so good. And generally speaking, I like to think of our hunger kind of like a gas gauge. And I usually recommend trying to start eating around a 3 or 4 and to try to prevent yourself from going all the way to a 10. Like a Thanksgiving level of stuffed doesn't feel so good.
Usually I get a tuna melt from John's Garden. It's their standard. I've asked them a few times to make it extra toasty, but I really love a tuna melt. That's been a big thing recently.
Love this journey for us. Like, tuna melts are so iconically American to me. I only have tuna melts in the States. I don't know why. But we got lots of protein in the tuna, fat in the mayo and the cheese, and carbs in the bread. Pro tip, up the fiber by going with a seeded rye or whole grain bread, and try to ask for a little salad on the side for some extra veg.
If I'm going to snack, especially on set, I'm probably going to go with hot Cheetos or salt and vinegar chips, those Snap Pea crisps, good old vegetables and hummus, also delicious.
Love the variety here. And actually those Snap Pea crisps are a snack that I actually buy a lot here at home. They've got a really short ingredient list starting with green peas, and they've got 4 grams of fiber and 5 grams of protein per serving, which when compared to like hot Cheetos, for example, is pretty good for a crunchy snack. Plus my kids are obsessed and I can get them at the dollar store. We love that.
And then for dinner, because usually I wait to eat lunch later, I have a good green soup. Erewhon has a really, really great green soup that I like a lot. It's like lemony and it's got like broccoli and kale and like green things. I imagine it's pretty healthy. Lemon orzo soup is really yummy, like lemon chicken and orzo, matzo ball soup, potato and leek soup, chili. The possibilities are endless here.
Totally makes sense to be craving a lighter dinner after a larger breakfast and a very light lunch. Plus, I don't know where she's ordering her tuna melts, but where I go in Florida, there's gotta be like 2 whole cans of tuna per sandwich. It's a lot of food. But tuna aside, some days you just want soup. I love soup. And if you don't want to spend $18 on soup at Erewhon and you also don't have time to make it, here is my little nutritious budget-friendly hack. Take a can of your favorite soup, so like chicken noodle, vegetable, butternut squash, broccoli, whatever. Ideally a lower sodium variety, but if not, it's gonna be okay. Then turn it into a stew or a stoop, as Rachel Ray used to call it, by throwing in whatever leftovers you've got in the fridge. So rotisserie chicken, steamed or roasted veggies, whole grain noodles or rice, canned beans, frozen kale or spinach, whatever. I got a bunch of ideas for upgrading canned soup in one of my really old videos, so you can definitely check that out if you're looking for some really fast, budget-friendly meal solutions. But yeah, it might be like summer outside, but it's soup season all year round in my books.
I really love to just make a charcuterie board. Basically just an adult Lunchable. My perfect board would be brie or brie adjacent cheese, firm white cheese. I love to have like a little bit of salami, prosciutto, obviously crackers, fruit on there. I love to have like a fig jam or a cherry jam, top off of like a, lactate pill.
I can just imagine a cheese board where instead of nuts, you just like aesthetically sprinkle in some lactate pills. And again, a girl after my cheese-loving heart. Love the idea of an adult Lunchable for those nights when you just do not want to have to turn the oven on and you feel like having a snacky snack dinner rather than a meat, starch, veg. And I don't know, I think that a charcuterie board can be inherently very well balanced. We got protein, fat, carbs, veggies, what's not to love? As for the lactate, this is one of the 2 most evidence-based digestive enzymes on the market, the other of which is BNO. And while yes, digestive enzymes absolutely can and do help people with functional gut disorders or intolerances, not all supplements out there on the market are legit or evidence-based or even appropriate for every TikTok influencer selling them. I mean, ultimately, you should try to work with a registered dietitian to determine the root cause of your symptoms first and determine if digestive enzymes would even be a good fit. But if lactose intolerance is the issue, we do have evidence that taking supplemental lactase, aka Lactaid, can absolutely help. I think it's worth a try if you love your cheese.
How much cheese have you eaten today?
How much cheese is too much cheese?
Speaking of orange wine, I found one recently that's really lovely. It's called Ravina. Usually that's my go-to, but if I'm feeling spiffy, I'll probably do like a martini, like a dirty martini.
Orange is definitely the new pink, so here's a little factoid that you can bust out at your next dinner party. Orange wine is produced by allowing the skin and seeds of the grape to ferment in the juice. So like red wine, it's rich in antioxidants like camphorol, quercetin, catechins, and resveratrol, likely more so than white wine, where the skin and seeds are removed before fermentation. We do know that these compounds have health benefits, but we also need to weigh them against the risk of alcohol consumption in general, which is why we generally see a J-shaped curve in the literature. People here in Canada are freaking out because the new Canadian guidelines slashed the recommended weekly drinks from 10 for women and 15 for men to just 2 per week, based on the most up-to-date research. I love myself some wine, but I do personally agree with this standard for a multitude of reasons. Sleep, mental health, weight management, chronic disease risk, etc. So I personally see wine as something to be enjoyed in moderation. Yes, it has antioxidants, but we probably shouldn't be aiming to get the bulk of our antioxidants through booze. Just saying.
I love olive. No blue cheese, absolutely ever. Blue cheese is not allowed on the charcuterie. It is not allowed in olives. Sorry, no. But I like olives.
I am also not a blue cheese girly, but it does have some unique health benefits over other cheese. So let's talk about it. For example, so blue cheese contains up to 4,700 bioactive peptides, one of which is called spermidine, which has been shown to help reduce the risk of heart disease. This has actually led researchers to hypothesize that blue cheese may be one of the key reasons for low cardiovascular mortality in countries like France. Also, dairy fat is not as bad as we once thought. In fact, a comprehensive review of 16 studies found that consuming full-fat dairy, including cheese, was associated with a lower risk of obesity, while another review with almost 1 million people found neutral or a slight reduced risk of heart disease. That said, there's really no point in choking down very, very stinky cheese if it doesn't bring you joy, but if it does, I see no reason to avoid it either.
I'm not a major dessert person. Every once in a while, I'll get a craving for dessert, and I really love, there's a bakery nearby that does little mini rum baba cakes, and it's just these like sponge cakes soaked in rum, and there's just a little bit of like a cream filling, and they're so yummy, and they're tiny and just enough. I also love tiramisu.
These are definitely not dessert person desserts because they are inherently a little bitter and boozy. And while having a non-restrictive, intuitive eating approach can absolutely help to reduce the likelihood of obsessing or pining over sweets, there's also a genetic component here too. Research has linked a particular variant of the FGF21 gene to being more likely to have a sweet tooth, possibly related to neural responses to reward. Interestingly, the researchers found that this particular allele is associated with a lower total body fat percentage, though this population does tend to have greater risk of weight accumulation in the midsection, plus a higher risk of high blood pressure. This is emerging research, but it may be used in the future for different nutrigenomic drug therapies, which is something that I personally find really fascinating. So I love this day. I love that we didn't have to hear about cheat days or detoxes or really any pseudoscience explanation for why Madelyn eats what she eats. Plus, I got to spend part of my workday reading about orange wine, and I love feeling fancy like that.
I'm so fancy. You already know.
And on that note, that's all that I have for you guys today. If you like this video, be sure to give it the thumbs up. Leave me a comment below on who or what you'd like to see me discuss next. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time on Abby's Kitchen. Bye.